So what do we talk about on today's episode? Well, if I got a nickel for every time I was asked this question, I'd be a billionaire. So what did we talk about? We talked about how if you ask how, you're committed to staying stuck. So what do I give you today? I give you the exact 5 steps you need to stop asking how and to start building it to fast track to your success with some rants and some sweating. And I show up with enough energy for you to borrow some of the confidence and a little bit of crazy to put it into practice. So I'm going to shut up now because I think this episode is probably one of the best podcasts I've ever recorded. So without further ado, here's the intro. Oh, and if you haven't left a review, I talk about this in the episode. Please listen and go leave a review for the podcast. Thank you so much. Here we go. Bye-bye. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. This is a Monday episode. The last couple have not been me recording them just for the show because there were so many nuggets and golden ones like last week's with Angie, who's also a dear friend of mine. But what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about hows, right? We're going to talk about the most asked question I get and the thing that I hear and see more than anything. How? Well, here's my how quote for you today, and I just wrote this. If you are asking how, you are asking to stay stuck. If you are asking how, you are asking to stay stuck. And you're like, George, what are you talking about? Why are you saying that? Because hows cannot be executed. They have to be built. And they can't be built by anyone but you. And the materials and the plan required to build it only come from action that you create. And so all too often, I see this all the time. I watch people waste $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 to pay for quote unquote coaching. Give me the way, give me the playbook, give me the strategies, give me the tactics. That's like saying, give me all the tools in Home Depot and somehow I expect them to build me a house without picking them up and using them. And quite frankly, I am so sick of people being idolized and put on podiums for taking your fucking money by telling you that they have your how. No one has your how. No one but you. And I was going to give a disclaimer on this episode that I was going to swear, but I swear everyone that I'm fired up and I'm lit up because here's the thing. You see all these people, and I watch some of you on social media, like giving them energy and giving them attention, and they taught me the how, but they didn't. They take credit for your success, and they're trying to portray a life that doesn't exist. Instead, get to work. Be with people that play the game with you. Get some teammates that'll roll up their sleeves and do the things with you. You have to build your how. So today, I'm going to give you 5 steps, like literally 5 crystal clear steps to build your how and get into momentum. And you know what? I am going to sell myself a little bit. I am. If you're watching this, you're watching me make funny faces at the camera while I take a sip of my coffee. But I'm not going to sell myself. I'm going to sell this concept of the how and simplicity. Because what I'm going to give you in this episode only works if you put it into practice. What I'm going to give you in this episode only changes your life if you take it and make the change. If what I'm saying just becomes shelf help in your brain, it's not going to do you any good. If you hear what I say and get off and go right back to scrolling through social or right back to doing a distracting activity or right back to doing something that isn't moving you towards your needle mover or towards your vision and protecting it, it's not going to do you any good. But I have people come to me all the time in our group coaching, in our mastermind. George, tell me how. And they hate me when I'm like, you have to tell me how. But when I make them pause and I make them do exactly what I'm going to give you on this episode, the momentum is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And here's the thing. Some of you know this, some of you don't. This podcast is now really the only way to get content for me for free. But I'm watching the downloads and I'm watching somebody, I haven't caught up on episodes. I'm so bummed I don't know how to do this. I couldn't take 20 minutes to listen to an episode. I'm like, how many hours did you spend on YouTube? How many bullshit shows did you watch on Netflix? Not from a place of judgment, from a place of, oh, I didn't realize that's where my time was leaking. That time could have been done building my business, building my vision, putting in the reps, doing the work. And it's about awareness, and you need to start surrounding yourself with people that hold you to your potential and have allies in your corner that are honest with you but don't placate you. Oh, it's okay you didn't do it today. No, it's not. Not when you tell me you want to win. Not when you tell me you want success. Not when I know that life is fragile and the only guarantee is tomorrow, but you might not be in it. I don't want people that say, hey, George, I know you said you were going to record 3 podcasts today and you only did 1 and that 1's okay. I don't want that. I want someone to be like, hey, man, you said you were going to record 3. Why didn't you record 3? And then I have the ability, minus fault, blame, guilt, and shame, to dive on the inside and be like, man, wow, what got in the way? Why did I say this was important and choose not to do it? Why did I let my feelings prevent my results? Why did I let the outside world dictate my emotions? Why didn't I build it into my schedule? Why didn't I prioritize it? Why did I let that leak me out? And it's having a relationship with the situation that makes adjustments as we go. And so I'm going to give you 5 crystal clear steps that you can do. But I'm going to read you some wins that I've gotten in the last 3 days from the things I'm about to share with you right now. Number 1, well, as much as I didn't want to, I did what he said and I sat with it. In the past week, I've had more and more clarity. Aside from the new program I created, I also figured out how to bridge to that, how to work with my clients, scale what I'm doing, and have my offer, all without doing the how. That's 1. Let me read you another one. Win. I just wanted to share this one. 40 people hopped on my live last night, and 8 people have already signed up for 6 months of my coaching. I've personally messaged everyone welcoming them, and I rewrote the first 7 days of my email sequence to give them one small thing at a time so they don't feel overwhelmed. I've had a ton to learn, but I'm super excited about this momentum. And George Bryant, your trainings and what you share about needle movers and focus actually works. Imagine that. Let me read you another one. Win. My family responsibilities have been a bit over the top for the last few weeks. It's created a challenge to focus and deliver to my clients. Last night, I turned down homemade strawberry pie at my in-laws and had the house to myself. I sat in quiet for 20 minutes, and it was an absolute struggle to not go do something. I logged in to the group coaching program, the Lighthouse Business Accelerator that we run, and I listened to George teach about email recipes. I have not emailed my community in a month or more. Throughout the evening, I was able to say the 3 main pillars of my business, where I want them to be. This win is huge, and it's a needle mover. Here's another one. And this one's a big one. Wins. Okay, I'm going to continue to celebrate wins here, and I hope you all will join me. I was awarded a bonus for being recognized as the top 1,500 writers in Medium. That's epic because Medium has tens of thousands of writers. I've been testing breathwork sessions. I've been getting incredible results and testimonials. 2 weeks ago, 11 people. Last night, 3 people, 7 testimonials. I created a course around breathwork transformation, 5 days. Head to heart emotional release course. I ran 3 times this week and trained for a total of 5. I sat in silence for 30 minutes and got my own breath work. I finished the book that George recommended. I am winning. I am in momentum. And it's simple. Notice how no one's like, oh, I ran this webinar. I did these strategies. I did these tactics. You're the secret. You listening to this is the secret. You're the athlete. You're the performer. These are wins that come from doing what I'm about to share with you. These 5 things I'm giving you are the same things that these amazing human beings are doing in our group coaching program. They just get calls with me and my team. They get trainings and support in our group coaching program for $297 a month. Like, it's mind-blowing, but this is it. I'm going to give you a base of it on this episode. But before we do, I'm going to pause because I have to read reviews because that's a rule. Celebration creates momentum. Momentum creates more. And I have to celebrate my wins. And nobody's reviewed the podcast in over 3 weeks, and I'm kind of pissed off about it. So if you're listening to this and you haven't left a review on the podcast, go leave me a damn review or stop listening to the show. I give everything on the show. Go give me a review, please. Pretty please, but let me read some. Let me read some. I'm going to start here. I don't even know if I've read these before, but I want to read them again. Laura Wheat. I've listened to marketers for years, and nothing anyone said 100% landed with me. Something was always missing. What am I being taught? What I was being taught was to give my audience something that wasn't really from me. What George teaches is different because of his authenticity. He teaches you to connect to yourself, and that is your magic that will cause your results. Exactly what I'm talking about on today's episode. What's this one? This one's from John Ramos. George is a beacon of possibilities. I'm thankful for Chris Benetti, who owns Members Pro. Amazing human being. I love you, Chris. For introducing me to George's content because my life is simply different now. His podcast makes me happy. The Mind of George has helped bring clarity to my personal and business life. And I'll give you one more from my homie at L Custom Wood Garage, who makes amazing stuff and is also in our LBA program. I started listening to George like 4 months ago, and I've learned a lot from this podcast. All the daily golden nuggets he drops on his podcast is well worth the listen. It'll transform your life and your business. Keep crushing it, George. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing that. Thank you all for celebrating your wins. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your win, and thank you for leaving me a review. Now let me have a full disclosure for you. I've made millions of dollars. I've had a 22-week New York Times bestseller. I've had a #1 app in the world. I've had successful 7- and 8-figure companies. And it doesn't mean that I show up any differently today than you do. It doesn't mean I figured out and I get to do the work. Every day is a new game for me. And one of my passions is showing you my journey. It's being on this with you, not being like, oh, look at my car, look at my house. No, this shit's hard sometimes. Winning is hard. Success is hard. And that's okay, because the moment you have it, it leaves again, and then you have to earn it again the next day. And I'm sitting here telling you that if you're listening this and you are not surrounding yourself with allies that push you and hold you to your potential, but instead are surrounded by people that placate you and they're like, give me money and I'll give you the secrets and this one funnel and this, that's all bullshit. There's no recipe that's a one-size-fits-all for everybody. And so I want you to take what I'm about to share with you to heart, and I want you to put it into practice. Like, I am fired up today and already sweating, and I want every podcast to be like this. I want to give you so much energy listening to this right now that I transmute it through the device and it instills into your body, and you take a different action today. Borrow some of my energy. Borrow some of my resiliency. Borrow some of my confidence, because I know you can do what you want to do. But you got to ask yourself in this moment, is what I'm doing in this moment, is what I have in my calendar today going to get me to where I want to go? And if the answer is no, it's make an adjustment. And that's what I'm going to have you do right now. So, my quote that I said to you earlier, don't ask how, build how. That is your secret to success, is to stop asking how and to start building how. So, I get asked this all the time, and you and a lot of people see it. Maybe you've asked it. The moment you ask how, you're trying to get clarity on what you want, your vision, and your path from someone who could never create it. And this is why people struggle. They'll ask coaches how. The coach will give them the how, and then they'll be unhappy with the answers and the results because it wasn't your how. It was their how. Nobody knows your capabilities. Nobody knows your wants. Nobody knows your desires. Nobody knows what's going on in your world and what really moves the needle. Even if you tell them everything, you have an unfair advantage, and only you know your how. And so you cannot outsource your clarity to anybody else. You can't outsource your dream or your reality because it will never happen. And so you have to start building your how and executing against it every day. And so we talk about this in my mastermind and our group coaching, where you just need a fuzzy goal. My buddy Brad taught me this term, fuzzy goal. But what does that mean? It means a general direction to head. Because if you head in a general direction and take an action, you get real world feedback that allows you to adjust. And those adjustments help make the picture clearer and clearer. Because the truth is we can all have vision boards all day. We can say we want this, we want that, we want that. But it never looks like we want it to look because we haven't become the people to have it yet. So we can only see at our current level of understanding. And so the goal is to have an idea of what you want it to look like 3 years from now, and then take actions every day that instill in you. They change your behaviors, they change your habits and your inputs that are guaranteed to move you closer in that direction. So here are the 5 steps. Let me take a sip of coffee real quick. That is so good. Oh, and by the way, I'm just celebrating because I am 12 weeks in to outsourcing my programming and training and my meals and hitting my macros. And this Americano with some collagen in it from my buddies at Bubs. This is not sponsored, but you should go check out Bubs Naturals. They're the only collagen I use. Just makes my soul happy. So now, here are the 5 steps. Step number 1 is you need to spend the next 7 days doing a time audit. A time audit. And what do I mean by a time audit? I mean you have to have integrous documentation of every minute of your day. You can do this in 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks. The secret to your success is having integrity with what you write down. And so, for example, last night, I had a to-do list at my house, and I put my son to bed, and I didn't do it. Instead, I watched YouTube for 2.5 hours on golf videos. And so when I woke up this morning, I couldn't be mad, I couldn't be upset that the 4 things that I needed to get done last night didn't get done. I chose not to do them, and I had to reprioritize my day. I had to make some adjustments, and it was a really stark reminder that I shouldn't do that because it doesn't help me get there. But the most important part of your time audit is having integrity in your time and looking at it objectively. No shame, no fault, no blame, or no guilt. You want to look at your time audit like your secret weapon because it's your treasure map. Because if you have a crystal clear picture of where you're spending your time, you have a crystal clear map of adjustments that can be made that get you to your results. That is the first step of getting clear, is knowing exactly where your time is spent. If it was, I went to take a poop and I spent 20 minutes playing on my phone, put it in there. And it doesn't mean you need to change it, but it means that if you tell me, George, I just don't have 10 minutes to respond to those DMs, we might be able to find it on toilet time. But you have to have an integrous relationship with your time because ambiguity creates failure. You cannot succeed, you cannot move forward, you cannot progress with a lack of clarity. So step number 1 is you need to do a time audit of your current week, and that includes your sleep. Did you sleep 4 hours or 6 hours? Did you sleep 3 hours or 8 hours? When I look at your podcast, when I look at your marketing and it feels like a lack of energy, and then you tell me you're only sleeping 3 hours, I'm not going to talk about your marketing. I'm going to make you sleep 8 hours a night to make adjustments so that you can be in your peak performance to do your best. Because injured athletes don't win championships. You would never willingly try to win the 100-yard dash or the 100-meter dash at the Olympics with only one shoe or one leg or take yourself out. And so you have to do a time audit. So number 1, you do a time audit. Number 2 is while you are in the process of doing your time audit, you need to create or review your vision. You need to create or review your vision, i.e., where do you want to be 3 years from now? Now, Cameron Herold has a book called Vivid Vision. Bo Eason has a book called There's No Plan B for Your A Game. Tim Grover has a book called Winning. All of these things are great. You just need to take the time to sit down and come up with a vision 3 years in the future. And I'm going to give you some tricks here, but it needs to be specific. Like, oh, I want to make, I want to live here. No, where do you want to live? How big of a house? What does it look like? How much does it cost? Well, I want to be working 5 hours a day. I don't care. What do you want to be doing in those 5 hours? Do you want to be writing for an hour? Do you want to be recording podcasts for 2 hours? You need to get specific. Read Vivid Vision by Cameron Herold, and you either need to create or review your vision that's 3 years in the future. Give it texture. Give it specifics. Ambiguity equals guaranteed failure. because you can't build something if you don't know what you want it to look like. And you can't even start heading in that direction until you know that direction. And so in Vivid Vision, or in any vision, I ask you to break it down into 5 categories: friends, family, finances, fitness, and faith, right? Those are ones that are easy. Like, where do you want to be with your friends, your family? Is it family time? What are you doing? You're taking vacations or trips. Finances would be in your business. Fitness, you have to take care of yourself. And faith, whether that's spirituality, mindset, soul, something that gives you a bigger vision and purpose than what you're currently doing. So step 2 is you need to create or review your vision. Ask yourself, is this really what I want? Is this clear enough? If I handed this vision to a team of people with unlimited resources, could they create it? Are these the blueprints that would get them there? And you would never expect somebody to build the house of your dreams without you being crystal clear on the blueprint. It's yours. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is you need to review your time audit. You need to sit down and you need to look at the ingredients that you have. You now have everything that you need to triage your time, to give yourself a diagnosis of what you can do and adjust here. And so what do I ask you to do? I ask you to look at it and highlight or call out, circle, whatever you want to do, all of the things that you did that moved the needle towards your vision. Now notice, if you don't have a vision, you're just running in place expecting to get somewhere. You're going to get nowhere. So if you look now, I had 7 days. Here's my vision. And in these 7 days, these are the things I did that got me closer to my vision. We call those needle movers. So what you need to go find is find all of the things that move the needle for you. Maybe they mentally move the needle, spiritually, emotionally, physically, in the business. Maybe they generate leads. I don't know. Only you know. What are the things that you did that moved the needle? And listen, you might realize there was nothing that moved the needle. What a beautiful place to be with a clean slate. So leave that. Number 2, what on that list did you do that did not move you towards your vision? Was it too much Netflix? Was it skipping the gym? Was it spending 8 hours cleaning instead of doing my work? Was it being inefficient here? Was it going to the grocery store? I don't know what it is, but only you know. What are those tasks? What are those things that take your time that prevent you from utilizing it where you want? For example, grocery shopping. Some people love going to the grocery store for 2 hours, being in silence and having that time. Personally, I'd rather record 2 podcasts in those 2 hours, so I'll pay Instacart the $9 to deliver it to my house. Saves me time and I can do it. I'd rather not spend 8 hours on a Sunday cleaning my house when I can pay my house cleaner very fair wage, an amazing amount of money for $150 to make my house spotless. And I have 8 hours to give to my vision, to my family, to something. But I can only do those things when I identify the things that I'm doing that are not moving the needle. And so you need to go ask yourself, what on there is not moving the needle towards your vision? Then you make adjustments, not cheats. Don't find ways to fit shit in. You make adjustments, because success is a series of tests with no right answers, just adjustments. And so step number 3 is you review your time audit. Step number 4, isolate your needle movers, those things that move the needle towards your business, towards your vision, towards your life, in those areas, and build containers around them. Put them in your calendar. Make them non-negotiables. You love coffee like I do? Do what I do. Don't allow yourself to get the coffee until you've done your needle movers, you've done your workout, you've done your writing, you've done your podcast, and start to game yourself, realizing that you're the one responsible for building yourself up to win that gold medal. So schedule them in and build containers around them. And if you're George, like, what's containers? I can't teach containers on the podcast, but I cover it extensively in our group coaching or in our mastermind. And so all you have to do is DM me on Instagram or get a hold of my team. Say, I want your group coaching. I want your mastermind. George, I just want you to hire you one-on-one. Fine. Just hit me up. Like, I can't come find you. If you're listening to this, I don't know. You need to hit me up. But when you think about this, the simplest thing to do is like these 5 things every day. If I do these 5 things every day, it guarantees that I'm going to get closer to my vision. It guarantees that I'm going to get close to my results. So schedule the shit and then do it. But don't get upset about results you don't have from work you didn't do, as my buddy Jim Quick said on the show. So that's step number 4. And step number 5 is get crystal clear on your not to-do list and keep it in integrity. You review that list and you ask yourself, what can I continue to do? What can I delete? And what can I delegate? And then when you have that list and you know these are the things I should not be doing, you have to hold yourself accountable. And then you need to be around a group or a community of people that hold you accountable as well. Like our Lighthouse Business Accelerator, like our mastermind, because you will never get to success alone. You need allies that are honest and integrous with you, that hold you accountable to your potential, but also meet you where you are. So get crystal clear on your not to-do list and keep it in integrity. I understand that we have long days. I understand that we get tired. And I also understand that you told me it was important that you lost 30 pounds so that you could be here longer for your child. And so regardless of how you feel, I don't give a shit that you ate the chocolate cake. I don't. I love you, and I love that you want longer time with your child. And the truth is the chocolate cake will never get you there. And you need people that'll be honest, but you got to be honest with yourself. You got to make adjustments, but you also have to protect yourself. None of us are at 100% every day. None of us wake up like, I'm going to crush the day, I'm going to crush this work, and I'm going to be a world champion. Most of the time, that's not the default state. We wake up and we rely on our needle movers and our containers and our not to-do list to hold us accountable to put the work in anyways when we don't feel like it, so the result comes and then we can celebrate. So step number 5 is isolate your needle movers. Get crystal clear on your not to-do list and keep it in integrity. So step number 1, time audit your current week. Step number 2, create or review your vivid vision. Step number 3, review your time audit. Step number 4, isolate your needle movers and build containers around them. Step number 5, build your not to-do list and don't allow yourself to do them. And that is the exact 5-step process that you can use to build your how. So you should go do it. That is how you solve how. So you should never ask again, how. You can ask, hey, George, this is where I'm going and this is what I've been doing. Do you think there's a more efficient way? I don't know, maybe. But it's a lot easier to coach with information and make adjustments than it is to try to get somebody to go. I can't make you start running the race, but when you're running, I can help you pace yourself. I can help you take a different turn. I can help you hydrate, and so can many other people. But you have to be running the race that you choose in order for it to be effective. I'm going to take another sip of coffee. How long have we been going here? 26 minutes and only 3 sips. I'm doing pretty good. And I'm calm now. I feel like I got some energy out. I feel like I gave you my all in this episode. I feel like I gave you all my confidence, all my momentum, all everything that I feel like can benefit you. I just gave it to you. And I want you to borrow it. And listen, DM me. DM me on Instagram. But only DM me once you've done this. Hey, George, I got it. Here's my 3 needle movers that I'm going to do every day, and here's what I'm not doing. DM me. I will read it. I will respond to you. Hold yourself accountable. Open your calendar. Put it in your calendar to listen to this podcast every Monday and Friday. And then put it in your calendar to integrate whatever I talk about. Put in your calendar silent time. Stop yourself from consuming other people's shit. Stop building other people's visions and build yours. Earn the right to play this game. No one's coming to do it for you. And that is the best gift that you will ever have. And success is earned every day. There's no finish line. None. And the truth is that sometimes the game is easy and sometimes the game is hard. But I love the game. And I love the game because I love playing with people. And so I love people. I love my team. I love our groups. I love everything. So even when I don't feel like playing the game, I love my team and they pull me to show up and then I play. And that's how this works. This isn't a solo game. And I'm so sick of people telling you that, like, you're going to make it to the top and all you have to do is this one thing. And, like, I have it all figured out. And I'm like, they're just lying. And it's okay. I'm a shit show most of the time. This is how it really is. Like, if you saw behind the scenes of what it was like to run a couple 7-figure businesses and a consulting and a mastermind, I look at it and I'm like, how do I hold it together? But it's just that right level of crazy where we keep going and focusing and you have the right people around you. It's time for you to start building your how, because every brick that you lay today and tomorrow and the next day in 10 years from now will be the foundation of the biggest dream and the biggest vision you ever had. But if you stay where you are and keep looking for a brick or waiting for somebody to tell you what brick or what order, it'll never get there. And the worst thing that happens is you lay a brick and realize it didn't belong there, so you just pick it up and move it. But all of it's in momentum and it's in moving forward. And so my challenge for you will be to stop asking how and just to start building it. So I look forward to reading your Instagram DMs. If you have not reviewed the podcast, please go review the podcast. Send me the shit in Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to the show if you're not subscribed. And then get into action. Get into our Lighthouse Business Accelerator. Get into our mastermind and let's play this game. But either way, I'm going to go finish my coffee. You have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to read your DMs on Instagram. Remember that relationships always beat algorithms, so you will either see me in the next episode or you will hear me in your earballs. But now, it's time to cue the outro.